Now, these no interest loans range from $1,000 up to $100,000. And right here it says you do not have to have good credit to qualify. Today's video, we have a special review. I'm gonna be letting you guys in on a game-changing financial product, and you can use this to get access to hundreds of thousands of dollars in capital to grow and scale your business and build your wealth. We're talking about Revolving Loan Fund. This is primarily used for the development and expansion of small businesses. Now, what's unique about a revolving loan fund, as the name suggests, it's a pool of money that self-replenishes itself. Several different ways that money goes into the loan fund. So you could have tax collections. I've gone over an example with the state of Maryland where they have the video lottery terminal loan fund where they take a percentage of revenue from the slot machines at casinos as well as sports wagering. They put that into the loan fund and then they lend that out to small businesses. Now, every year there's additional tax collection that goes into that loan fund, that pool of money. On top of it, when borrowers are repaying their loans, the principal and the interest goes back into the loan fund so they're able to relend to more businesses. So essentially, again, the interest and principal payments on old loans are reutilized to issue new ones. Now, what a lot of people don't know is that there are literally billions of dollars available to Americans to be able to get access to capital through revolving loan funds. So some of you probably heard of the United States Agency for International Development. Now, there actually is a counterpart. You got the U.S. Economic Development Administration, and this is within the U.S. Department of Commerce. Now, what they administer is revolving loan funds. So they provide capital and grants to different revolving loan funds throughout the United States. Now, revolving loan funds have had a huge impact. Over $1.3 billion invested through the Economic Development Administration, over 700,000 jobs created or saved, 45,000 total loans to small and medium-sized businesses, and there are over 400 revolving loan fund operators in 50 U.S. states. Now, how do you figure out where to get this money from these different revolving loan funds throughout the United States? Now, one way you can go about it is through the U.S. Economic Development Administration's Grantee program, right? So basically, they give out grants to these different programs throughout the United States, and you can search by state which revolving loan funds actually received grants from the U.S. Economic Development Administration. So I'm gonna give you guys just an example. I like using Maryland because that's where I'm from. So you have to search a little bit because they're not going to spell it out for you exactly. You have to actually search within these different websites from the loan fund grantees. So these are organizations, government entities that have received these grants from the U.S. Economic Development Administration. So right here, you got Baltimore County, Maryland, Maryland Department of Commerce, and Tri-County Council for Western Maryland. All right. So just to give you an example here, again, you have Baltimore County. Again, they were listed right here. So they have what's called the Boost Fund. What they're all about is providing small business loans to minority, women, and veteran business owners. They are giving out loans with credit scores as low as a 625. Now, going back to the grantees, you have the Maryland Department of Commerce. When we go on Maryland Department of Commerce, and again, you have to search around a little bit, but you could find these different programs. Now, this one right here is a game changer. We got the Military Personnel and Veteran-Owned Small Business Loan Program. They provide no interest loans for businesses owned by military reservists, veterans, National Guard personnel that are employed or own a small business. Now, take note right here. It says new applications are being accepted from July 1st, 2025 through August 29th. Now, again, with these revolving loan funds, you have new allocation of capital that comes in every single year, right? Because they collect tax money, they put it into the revolving loan fund, loans are repaid. So there is a window where you want to submit your application. Now, these no interest loans range from $1,000 up to $100,000. Loan maturity from 1 year to 8 years. This is an example of a program that's available through grants that are issued through different revolving loan funds. We got another one right here, the Cannabis Business Assistance Fund. So the Cannabis Business Assistance Loan Grant Fund is a financing resource operated to provide grants, loans for small businesses, including small minority and small women-owned businesses entering the adult use use cannabis industry. So this is an absolute game changer. So Maryland legalized recreational cannabis. So then they're taking a portion of the taxes that are generated from those sales and they put it into a revolving loan fund, and that revolving loan fund is then issuing loans and grants for minorities and disadvantaged people who want to enter in the cannabis industry. So basically they are providing loans to people who want to start their own dispensary, people who want to be a cultivator or a grower. You could get loans and grants to start that. So basically the use of funds could be the license application, assistance with operating or capital expenses of a business participating in adult use cannabis industry. Now, this is the total amount of maximal eligible grants. Now, it depends if it's a dispensary, a processor, or a grower cultivator. Now, check this out. So if you want to open up a dispensary, you can get up to $131,250. As a grower cultivator, you can get up to $525,000 in grants. All right. So they offer grants and loans, but you can get up to over $500,000 in grants. This is money you do not have to pay back. Now, take note here, a lot of these programs within the revolving loan funds are opening their applications right now or within the next couple of weeks. So this one is currently open, so that it opened on June 3rd, 2025. Now, this one right here is a game changer. They're giving out $50,000 in no interest loans to ex-convicts. That's right. So if you're coming out of federal prison, state prison, or even a county jail, you can get a no interest business loan to start your business when you get out of prison. So that's what this Maryland New Start Micro Loan is. Now, the purpose of this program is to provide $50,000 no interest loan to covered individuals for the purpose of starting a small business. To qualify for a loan from the program, you must be recommended by an entrepreneurship development program that received a grant from the Maryland Department of Labor, or be a covered individual. Now, what is a covered individual? So a covered individual means an individual who has been convicted of a criminal offense, has completed a term of imprisonment in federal and or state or local correctional facility, is approved for release by a correctional facility for the purpose of participating in a training program. Now, loans may be used for capital or operating expenses relating to starting a new business, including rent or purchase of business location, machinery, business license, or materials and supplies needed to open a business. Now, some of the benefits: no interest or application fees charged. And right here it says you do not have to have good credit to qualify. Now, these programs are an absolute game changer. And again, I'm just giving you guys a couple of examples, but we went over a funding program, no interest up to $100,000 for military and veterans. You also have the Cannabis Business Assistance Fund, which provide grants and loans to minorities and women-owned businesses who want to get into the adult cannabis industry. And you also have the New Start Micro Loan Program, which provides business startup loans up to $50,000 for people re-entering society. So if you're coming out of prison, state prison, federal prison, local prison, you can get a loan to start a brand new business. Through revolving loan funds, they're able to provide different types of loans and grants to individuals throughout the United States. So I just want to give you a couple of examples. Now, here's another example. There's hundreds of these, but you have the Salt Lake City Economic Development Loan Fund. Now, if you're a startup, so 0 to 3 years old, you can apply for loans up to $100,000. Existing businesses, 3 years plus, can apply for up to $350,000, and microloans, $25,000 or less. Now, there's some incentives for priority areas: low, moderate income owners, veterans, disabled owners, and shorter loan terms. So here's just a couple of examples of the actual businesses who receive these loan funds. All right, so I want to walk you guys through how to go about finding this information if you want to research it on your own. So I've already put together and compiled, a list of the different grantees who receive this money from the U.S. Economic Development Administration. However, if you, let's go to Virginia, click on Virginia, what you're going to do is see, okay, who are the actual grantees? So right here lists the grantees in the state of Virginia. So this is where you're going to look on their website. And again, I've already put all this information here, but once you go to their website, let's say the city of Newport News, Virginia, for example, like I mentioned, a lot of this information is not going to just be in your face. So you have to do a little bit of research, but here we're just going to go to work, go to loans and grants. And right here, this is going to give all of the different programs that are available. So you have e-commerce grant program, you have a facade improvement grant, you have the Newport News Capital Fund loan program up to $250,000. You also have $25,000 for micro startup businesses. You have an urban action loan grant program, the Peninsula Revolving Loan Fund program. So there's a ton of different programs out there. And again, this is going to be more localized, right? So there's not going to be one loan fund that's available in all 50 states. So you're going to have to do a little bit of research. If anyone wants me to cover a specific state, let me know in the comment section. Now, I've already put this document together, which lists out all of the revolving loan funds that receive grant money from the U.S. Economic Development Administration. So it's going to have the recipient's name, the state, the website, and the lending areas. This is also important because you want to make sure if you do reach out to one of these revolving loan fund programs that the lending area is covered where your business might be. So definitely take advantage of that. And again, this is good because they work with a lot of startup businesses. So you don't necessarily need to have a business established. Like I already showed you guys, if you're a small women, minority owned business owner, a veteran, or even if you're transitioning from prison, they have startup loans for you. Now, the great thing about the revolving loan fund is that it's self-replenishing. So there's new tax dollars that go into it. There's new grants that are allocated to these loan funds. And then when business borrowers repay the loans, the principal and interest goes back into that pool of money. And so the revolving loan fund can essentially continue to give out new loans to new businesses and new startups. If anyone's interested in doing some of their own research, I've dropped a link in the description of the video where you can check out over 300 plus revolving loan funds throughout the United States. That's all for today's video. Until next time, take it easy and we'll talk to you soon. Peace.